Okay. Hello. So my name is Bagas Yoga Wiranata, and I'm from Palembang. My student number is 190790520. I'm from Atmajaya University. I was born in 26 January 2002. Hobby. Yeah, I have a lot of hobby. Mostly it's related to music and also sports like futsal, football, badminton, volleyball, and other sport that that play as a teammate. I really love that. And I also do like playing music. I have a couple of guitar here in my brother house. Back in my house, I also have piano. I really like to play that. I really like to sing too. Making a podcast is also one of my hobby. I have a podcast. Was born in Palembang, and my family used to use English every day. So back in the days when I was born till I was 5 or 6, I always use English. So I could say that English is my first language. But I stopped using English since I was 6 because my father just got deported to a small city, and in that city we couldn't find a school that affording English as its basic language. So I must learn Bahasa as soon as possible. So that's why we just get rid of my English and try to learn Bahasa. But because I'm learning not from the I could say that I'm learning from the foreigner, right? Because my mom and my dad is not from America. Their grammar is not that good, but their vocabulary is awesome. I learn a lot from them, but in terms of grammar, I learn it by myself because they they speak to understand. They not speak for score or something. So as long as um the opposite is understand what they're saying, they just feel enough for that. So right now, I've introduced myself and I'm gonna tell you guys why am I making this video. So for today I have a topic to explain you guys. The topic is about informatics and also public speaking. So in this topic I have three questions that I'm gonna answer for today. So the question is, why is it important for informatics engineering students to master public speaking? And the second is, how is public speaking important for industrial engineering? And the last one would be, what benefits can we get from mastering the skill of public speaking? Explain and give example. Before I jumped into answering those questions, so for today I'd like to tell you guys first about what is public speaking, what is informatics, and then there is a couple of questions about industrial engineering too. So I'd like to tell you guys what is industrial engineering. So after you understand all of that, it's easier for me to explain to you guys. So the first one will be the public speaking. I've searched the definition about public speaking in the Oxford Dictionary, but I couldn't find it like a whole public speaking. But so I'm just divided into some part, and after that, I'm trying to put it to one full meaning. So the first one would be speak. The definition of speak would be the act of using mouth to verbalize expression in order to convey information, an opinion, a feeling, direction, or a thought. So it is the part of the act of communication. It's speaking. And then we also have speaking. As we know that verb ing means that it's something that we do. So the definition of speaking would be the act of using speech and the conveyance of information, expression, giving direction, or sharing thoughts and feelings. So that is the definition of speak and speaking. And now we're gonna jump into the public speaking. So the definition of public speaking is the process of speaking to a few or many people with the purpose of informing, motivating, persuading, educating, and also entertaining the listener. If we talk about public speaking, if I'm not mistaken, I've read it before. There are the three V's. First V would be verbalization, the second is vocalization, and the third one would be visualization. So about the verbalization, so verbalization is about the choice of words. So it's something that you choose. The harder the word that you choose would determine who you are. For example, sometimes when we use idiom or a phrase, it would be sounds much way cooler, and we would look much way smarter than we are. Because, for example, a word seldom means something that you don't do often, right? But if you use seldom, it's just a simple word. Doesn't show how smart you are. You can change it to hardly ever. So rather than you say that I seldom look you yesterday, you can change it to I hardly ever saw you this past 3 months. It would be much way better to use that kind of thing. So verbalization is the choice of word. The second is vocalization. So Vocalization is how you deliver the word using various space, pitch, power, pausing, modulation, and also other vocal speaker skills. It's just something that all the public speakers learn. So sometimes you must talk fast. Sometimes you just gotta make it slow. Sometimes you need to higher your voice, just like the volume, and then you just turn it off a little bit. That kind of skills that they learn, it's just to control the audience. And then the next one will be the visualization, is how the audience see you. It's just like how do you look at the front of the stage. For example, like when you're about to speak to important people, make sure that you use a good shirt. Maybe you could use the tuxedo or something. Yeah, just make it suit on everybody. And then the next one would be informatics. I'm about to tell you guys what is informatics. Informatics, maybe most of you will think that informatics mean computer. So you learn everything about computer. You'll just stay behind your desk and just trying to type something in the code or something like that. But the true meaning of informatics is the study of process for storing and obtaining information and then using it to make something that useful to humans. So we're kind of collecting information and then try to use that information. That is what we do. That is what informatics people do. So it's not all about typing. It's not all about just coding. That is not the main point. But that is what we do. So informatics and also public speaking, it's just like I could say it's like water and also oil. It's much way different thing, and it's very hard to make them to be one. But if you use it properly, both of them based on what they have, I'm pretty sure that it would be very useful for both. So just like I said before, it's just like water and also oil. It will not match. You can't just put water and then put oil and you shake it and they just get to be one or something. They just can't make. They just can't be like that. But if you try to make it a soup or something, it would be a very good combination. So that is also the same thing about informatics and also public speaking. I think that's enough explanation about public speaking. So right now we're gonna jump into the first question. The first question I'm gonna answer about how is public speaking important for industrial engineers. So I forgot to explain you about the industrial engineers. So something that you need to know, there are several aspects on industrial engineers. So what we learn mostly is about the things that we're gonna make, any kind of ergonomic, functional, and also other things. But we hardly ever learn about what we're gonna do after we make it. Because even if there are other person who learn about marketing and stuff, we do still need to explain our product to that person, And it would be way better for us if we just try to sell it by ourselves. If we could talk to client by ourselves, and by I mean client is, it could be plural. So if we sell a stuff, especially the design is something that more important than the stuff itself, we could sell it to a big company. We could not sell it to some organization. We could sell it to like maybe a football team or maybe some politics organization. So as I said before, one of the purpose of public speaking is like giving information, and we want our information to be delivered well. So yeah, speaking is giving information. We need to be a client if we want to sell something to our client. You get what I mean? I mean, like, being a client is like the thing, like the client thinking. I'm gonna give you an example. What about if me as an industrial person, I'm gonna make a chair for a person who work 9 to 5, which means I need to understand what's their struggle on working a 9 to 5, right? I must know their pain, what they need, what kind of chair that would be suitable for them. For example, most of the chair that you will find is like the armrest. It would be lower than the desk. It's made for you to rest, so you can just lay down a little bit and then just put your arm, try to be relaxed. But for the person who work 9 to 5, if the armrest is a little bit lower, then you will type something. It will be very hard for you because your hand will not depending on anything. It just like work with your own hand. You can just put it down to the armrest while typing something. So if you want to make a chair for a person 9 to 5, I'm gonna make it like a little bit higher, slightly higher than usual, and then so they could type while resting their arm. It would be much way useful for them. That is what I mean by becoming the client. It's we need to understand their struggles, but the point of public speaking is not stop there. We need to explain what we do to them. And what we're gonna explain is not about how we make it. It's not about the technical. It's about what they need and what we make. So, for example, I've already made that chair. I already made that chair for a person who worked 9 to 5, and right now I'm about to explain to them what I'm making. I'm not gonna explain to them like, oh yeah, so most of people will put their arm like this. It's about 45 degree or something. They will not listen to us. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell them like what's their struggle, and then I'm gonna give them solution by giving my stuff, my thing. So that is how the public speaking will be useful in industrial engineering. So it's all about communication with our client, with our boss. We need to adjust every position that we have. We need to adjust every personality that we met. We can't just choose who's our client. We cannot just choose who's our bosses. So I think in general, public speaking is already very, very useful. Yeah, so I hope that answered the first question. And the next one would be, why is it important for informatics engineering students to master public speaking? I think this is related to the last question too, because the last question is, what benefits can we get from mastering the skill of public speaking? Explain and give example. I do think both of this question is related, so I'm gonna answer both of it at once. So, why is it important for informatics engineering students to master public speaking? So, as I said before, it's informatics and also public speaking is not something that you could just combine just like that. You need to do something about it. This is a slight example about how that public speaking it will be really useful in the world of informatics. So in my class, there are 40 students approximately, and I could say that 30 of them is a very, very smart student. They could code very well, they could understand what the lecture said, and they could just code, it's just like extremely good. But when it's time to present something, they just don't know what to do. It's just like they make something good, but they don't know how to use it. Even though they actually know, but they don't know how to tell people how to use it. So we be quiet. It's shameful. So that is what I'm trying to say. In every aspect of this world, public speaking is very, very useful. It's a soft skill that we all need. And from what I saw, the successful person in the world of informatics, as what we all know, like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, all of that people is the kind of informatics person. But why could they be success? So, besides their brilliant brain, brilliant way of thinking, and the way to understand everything, they also have something that we usually call public speaking skills. So they could make sure that everyone understand what they're making, and make sure everyone could use what they're making, and make sure everyone buy what they're making, which is very, very brilliant. They're just not making the stuff, but they just like put it in the market by themselves. It really useful for the independent employee, I could say that, because you work for yourself, you make something for yourself, and then you sell it and get the money for yourself. It would be very useful if you want to be a successful person, especially right now. And then let's say that you cannot be an independent employee. You can't just make your own empire. You just can't make your own company. Still, public speaking is still very useful because you need to talk to your boss. You need to talk to your client, especially in the world of informatics. Informatics and also industrial engineers it's quite the same. The difference is only in about the stuff that you're making. And in industrial engineers, they making stuff and they try to sell it to another person. But in informatics, we make something like software, application, some code, some system that we're making, and we try to sell it to someone. So it's quite the same, but the way we explain it is much way different, because informatics people, what we explain is all about the code. It's all about the technical stuff. Most of us will not explain about the function to another people, because we're always talking informatics and also informatics people. So both of us understand what is informatics, but what if the case You talking to an uninformatics person. You talk to the person who don't understand informatics. So if you talk about the code and something they will not understand, that is one of the way of thinking about the public speaker. You need to be the other person that you talk to. You need to be, to understand their way of thinking. And right now, if you already understand what their way of thinking is, you can talk to them and just, get into their head and try to explain everything that you know. And another thing that is important, especially for a student, is I believe there are thousands of students right now currently still studying about informatics. There are thousands of people who are ready to take their degree in informatics. So if all of them could code, which means there are thousands of enemies in front of us, what makes us different? What makes us different from another student that also learned informatics? Public speaking could also be the answer. I mean, if you go to a company, then you just you just trying to explain your code to the HRD or something. I don't know how it works, but maybe if you talk to the new person, I really think that it would be very useful for public speaking skills to be a little bit involved in that. We need to think the way the HRD thinking. We need to think the way someone who interview us thinking. And it would be very useful. For example, so this is a lighter. The point of a lighter is to make fire, right? As we know, like this. This is a lighter. Right now, if we have three lighters, if you have three lighters right in front of you, one, two, and three, all of them would be the same lighters and having the same purpose to turn a fire on, to be useful. But what if one of them, from those three lighters, one of them having a flashlight underneath it at this side, So from those three lighters, one, two, and three, which one will you gotta choose? Of course, most of you will think that you gotta choose something that will be more important for you, something that more useful for you, which is the lighters that have the flashlight underneath it, right? So it's just the same with informatics people. It's just the same with informatics engineering people, which means that all of you is just like a lighter. You have the same purpose. You code, you make application, you make something, you make fire. But if you have another skill that you could show, in this analogy, I make it like the flashlight, but in real life, it could be the public speaking. If you have the skills, if you have something to prove, if you have something different that would be useful from others, you could be someone different, and there's a bigger chance for you to be more succeed than them. If we talk about will it gonna be useful for the informatics people to use public speaking, it will be very very useful. And if it's is it important, it is very important. And what's the benefits? You have a lot of benefits. And if you're really that successful, it could be a motivator. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it could be a motivator and talk to thousands of people, just like motivating people, just like what they did. Back in the days I was poor and right now I'm rich. You want to be like me? That kind of stuff. So that is my explanation about those three questions. I hope all of my answers already answering all of your questions. So the first question is, we already answer how is the public speaking important for industrial engineers. So it will be very useful for industrial engineers, especially to explain what you're making to someone. And then why is it important for informatics engineering students to master public speaking? As I said before, there are thousands of people who learn about informatics, but I think there are only a few who also learn public speaking. So if you combine both of them, you will be one step ahead of another. And then the next one, what benefit can we get from mastering the skill of public speaking? I've said it to you too. It will be easier for you to get a job, easier for you to make something. By something, I mean, it's like it could be a company, you could make your own stuff and then you could sell it to another people. You could do whatever you want to do if you have a good communication skills. So that is my answer for all of that question. I hope that really answer all of your question. Okay, so that's enough. The explanation for today. Thank you. My name is Bagas Wiranata. Thank you very much.